Hi guys, I'm here with my projects for the week for Wild Orchid Crafts design team. I've got a classroom set of some things I've made as well as some little gift bags for some coworkers. First I'm going to start by showing you the items that I used. I used this mixed color package of chrysanthemums because I absolutely love these colors, love the style of flower. I wasn't a huge fan of them when I just saw them on the computer, and then when I got them in, absolutely love working with them. So really pretty flowers, lots of colors. I'm also using some cherry blossoms. I'm going to be using some curly wild roses from the mixed blue and white pack, and all of these codes will be down below. I'm using one of the new mixed rhinestone and embellishment kits, flowers, rhinestones, and embellishments kits. These are awesome. They come in different colors, and you get flowers, leaves, you get bling in there. Lots of really cool stuff for $5 and change. So it's a great way to try out some different flowers and embellishments. I'm also using some of these new azalea flowers. They're fabric azalea flowers. So pretty, fun to work with. I'm using some of these white flowers with the diamond center. I'm going to be using some of these metal bead caps. I'm going to be using some of these Pink Mist Cottage roses. I'm also using some of these really cute, teeny tiny pale pink rosebuds. And a few different colors of seam binding. I'm going to be using cream and silver, which is so pretty. Love this color. And I'm going to be using some lace that I'm completely out of, so I'll show you that lace in the projects and put the link for that below. I know that there is one more lace that I used as well, and I'll put the product code for that below. It's one of the cloth laces, and I'm also completely out of it. It's just the white cotton lace here, so I'll have to put this product code below, and you'll see it on the projects. Alright, so the first thing I made was just a little tip. I started by adhering this cotton lace, and that was the one I just showed you, and I'm completely out of this, but I'll put the product code below for that, and it's a scalloped white eyelet lace. So pretty. I glued it all around, and I also used some of this gorgeous cream seam binding. Absolutely love it. And you'll see in some of my other projects, the bows, I put stuff in the center, and for some reason I just really like this without anything. I just wanted it, soft, pretty laces and fabrics. And then over here I have a flower cluster, and I've used some of the chrysanthemums. I've used them in pink and yellow. I've also used one of those azalea flowers, and they're so pretty because they bunch up and smush up real pretty. And then some cherry blossoms. I've got some of these rosebuds from the embellishment pack that I got, the flower and embellishment pack. And then some of those 8mm rosebuds. And then here's some of those flowers. They're so cute. I love using those, the white flowers with the diamond center. And then I have a large gardenia in the middle here, so I'll put the product code for that below as well. And I think that is about it. So I just have these little curly, I love those curly stems poking out all over the place. And to match, this is a pencil holder. This is an old bucket that used to have flowers in it that I got from a local craft store. And I started by covering it with just a swatch of paper. And then here's that gorgeous, gorgeous lace I used. Wild Orchid Crafts got in a whole set of new, beautiful Guipure laces, so check them out. And I started by adding the lace. I added a little bit of seam binding all around. And here I made a bow, and I love these. These are so pretty. You get about 4 of these in that starter kit with the embellishments, flowers, and rhinestones. And so I used a couple of them on my projects. So there's that. Pretty, pretty bow. And then I have another little flower cluster, which is using similar flowers to the other container I made because it's kind of going to go in the same area. So I have some chrysanthemums, pink and yellow. I've got one of those really pretty azalea flowers, some cherry blossoms, and then I have some of the same rosebuds there, kind of peeking through. So that's going to be like I said, it's going to be my pencil container. The next thing I made that kind of matches is I made a couple of gift bags, and I'm actually going to show you in a couple of minutes how to put this one together. This is the one I've made and recorded, so I walk you through how to do that step by step. But I used that lace again, beautiful silver seam binding. I used some metal embellishments here, And then just clusters of flowers. I've got the azalea flower again, and the wild rosebud, curly wild rose. I've got a sweetheart, cherry blossom, sorry. And then I have some leaves and some rosebuds. And then little diamond flowers. So I have the same stuff on this one. The only difference is instead of an azalea flower, I used a chrysanthemum. So definitely stay tuned. As soon as I stop this part, I'm going to continue with how to put this together. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Keep watching for this tutorial. So here I'm going to show you how I put together this treat bag. And I'm using just some supplies from the supplies that I listed below and also that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. And then I'm going to go ahead and start with a plain bag. And the first thing I do is put my bottom layer, which is going to be my lace. Normally I put the glue on my lace. So I'm going to do that. And then I place the lace where I want it, which is going to be about right there. Alright, so there's that. And then I'm going to add the seam binding. Now what I do when I'm making a bow and kind of offsetting it, I just cut one big long piece of seam binding and I'll show you how I put it. I take one edge and I'm going to apply it to this side and I want the bow to be right here. So I'm going to twirl the seam binding before I put it down, but I'll show that to you. So I'm going to put a line of glue right about to where I want the bow to be. I'm going to take my seam binding, twirl it loosely, and then kind of press it down carefully. I'm going to press the edges first and then go and focus on the middle. And again, be careful when you're pressing because the glue will come through this as well. Okay. And if something doesn't look the way you want it, you can always add just a little glue to adhere it down, and I'll cut the edge off at the end. So now what I'm going to do is lift up my seam binding and I'm going to go to the other end and I'm going to glue the other end down. But I'm still leaving a teeny tiny space for where my bow is going to be. So I'm going to add my glue. I'm going to loosely twirl my seam binding and adhere it down. Now if you're doing a long strip, you're going to want to just glue, you know, a small section at a time, but because these sections are relatively small, I just adhere glue. Now what I can do, the reason why I did it this way is because now I can take it and find the exact middle of my seam binding, which I'm probably going to end up cutting some off anyway, but you know, if you're wanting to kind of conserve your supplies, you don't want to waste any. So I wanted to find the exact middle. Alright, so now I'm going to tie a knot, and now I'm going to do my bow. So I'm going to make one loop, curl that around to make the second loop, and now I'm just going to play with it and kind of get it the right size. This takes just a minute or so, kind of fidgeting with it to get the, you know, correct bow or the look you want. And then just kind of pull the tails here, and then that's the bow. So now you can leave kind of a long tail if you want, or you can cut it to fit the treat bag, which normally I cut right towards the bottom. So I'm going to angle my scissors, and then there I've got my bow. And so then I'm going to clean up the edges as well here. Alright, so now you can start actually adhering your flowers. And I'll go ahead and put the embellishment in the center first, and I'm just using one of those cute little metal embellishments here. So I'm going to add a dab of glue, and then I'm going to carefully, because there's lots of holes in this, I'm going to carefully place this in the center. Kind of hold it down just a second on the edges so the glue's not getting me. Now when I'm placing my flowers, I always start with the largest flowers I'm going to use first. And I'm going to use this large curly wild rose. It's from the blue pack. And let's see, on the other one I used a fabric flower. I may want to use, I think I'm going to use a chrysanthemum this time. So I'm going to see where I want to put them and just kind of set them down and see where they're going to go. Right about there. Okay, so now I'm going to actually glue them down. I kind of like to eyeball things first. Sometimes I just start gluing, but I generally like to have an idea of where it's going to go first. And when I put the glue, I hold it for just a couple seconds, and it'll grab pretty quickly, depending on how much glue you put. If you're like me and put a lot, it's going to take, 30 to 45 seconds to actually dry. But if you hold it for a few seconds, it will grab right away. So I've got my 2 big flowers there, and now I can start putting all my teeny ones in between. I'm going to take the cherry blossom here, put some glue on the back, and kind of tuck it in the middle here. And again, hold it down for about 10 seconds. And then I'm going to get ready to do my little roses and leaves. And normally, whenever I'm using teeny rosebuds, I always curl the stems. I actually curled the stems on the leaves this time. Sometimes I cut them off, but this time I just chose to curl them. So here I just have a really old beat up paintbrush, and you want something about this size. You don't want something too big. A pencil is going to be way too big. You want something smaller, and you're just going to use that to form your curlies on the end. So I just hold it, wrap the stem around, and then slide off, and voila. Really simple, easy to do, and it gives it just a really cute look. So I like doing this whenever I use the teeny rosebuds, which is frequently. They're just great fillers. And for the stems, I'm just going to do, or for the stems on the leaves, I'm just going to do the same thing. And again, you can cut the stems off of the leaves if you'd like. I normally do that. I just chose to keep them on this time since, I don't have so many flowers on here. I wanted a little extra. All right. So I'm going to glue my leaves on first. Have them right about there. And you can kind of move the stems if they're not going the direction you want. Put some glue on the back. Right about there. And I'm going to glue the rosebud pretty close to that too. You don't need a whole lot of glue for these, especially because they're so small. You'll see the glue if you put too much. Turn that around so I can do this one. I'll put that right about there. And remember, you can glue it down, and then you can move the stem any which way you want. So just, once you get it glued down, you can fidget with the stem later. Glue that there. And if you're using the real teeny rosebuds, these are the 8mm, so they're a tiny bit bigger. But if you're using like the 4mm, sometimes, in fact, most of the time, I put a dot of glue on the actual project and then put them down so you're not burning yourself. Okay, and then I'm going to add my little blingy embellishment here. I love these. These are so pretty. You get a pack of 100 of them for a few bucks, and they go such a long way, and they're so pretty, and they're so sparkly. I don't know if you can see that. They're real sparkly and have the little rhinestone in the middle. Love them. I'm going to add another one right around here. And a lot of times with plastic embellishments, I just put the glue first and then put the embellishment down. I don't really have a particular reason. I just have it, I guess. And I'll put one more little rosebud there. And there you have it. Now you'll have little glue strands around, so you can either just kind of pick them off, or if you have a heat gun, you can, put your heat gun on it for 30 seconds, and that'll get rid of all the little cobwebs or spiderweb thingies from the glue. But that is just a really quick and simple treat bag using the Wild Orchid Crafts lace and flowers and seam binding. Super, super easy to do, and it really jazzes up a gift if you're giving a gift card or a card or something little. Really simple and easy to do, and a great presentation. Thanks guys so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.